Have you ever reached a point on your twin flame journey where you finally feel whole, no longer chasing, no longer aching only to feel their energy subtly re-enter your field? You're not reaching out, you're not looking back, and yet they return. Not physically, not even emotionally, but energetically. And this return isn't what you think it is. It's not the final union, it's a test. But here's the real question. Will you recognize it when it happens? In this video, we're going to uncover a little-known but crucial turning point on the twin flame path, the divine masculine's silent return before reunion. We'll reveal why this phase is not about romance, words, or even action, but about energy. About whether you, the divine feminine, have truly stabilized into union with yourself. You'll learn how this test shows up, why it's spiritually necessary, and what the divine masculine is really checking for in your field without you realizing it. By the end of this video, you'll stop seeing this phase as confusing or painful and start recognizing it as sacred. You'll no longer fall into old loops of energetic chasing, subtle grasping, or emotional anxiety. Instead, you'll understand how to hold your field sovereign, whole, magnetic. This understanding is the key to passing the test and moving forward toward true reunion. This is not just information, this is activation. So I challenge you, stay until the very end, reflect deeply, and if you feel called, type this powerful affirmation in the comments. I hold the field, I pass the test. Let this be your energetic declaration. If this resonates, hit like, share this message with others on the path, and don't forget to subscribe because we are unlocking truth, one soul code at a time. Number 1. The hidden energetic wall. A test of sovereignty. When we speak about the twin flame journey, much attention is often placed on the first energetic wall, the one that rises during the initial separation. That wall is raw, painful, and destabilizing. It launches the divine feminine into her awakening, triggering the dark night of the soul and shattering illusions built on fear and attachment. This is the wall of ego death, the wall of heartbreak, the wall that calls her inward, demanding surrender and healing. But what most rarely talk about is the second wall, the one that comes much later. And this time, it belongs not to the masculine, but to the divine feminine herself. It does not rise in pain, nor is it born of fear. This wall is formed from alignment, peace, and deep soul embodiment. It is the invisible barrier that forms when the divine feminine has truly returned to herself, not just intellectually or emotionally, but vibrationally. She has completed her inner healing, stepped into her sacred purpose, and found union within her own soul. And as a result, her field now radiates wholeness. It radiates the frequency of union, not the longing for it, but the beingness of it. At this powerful threshold, something subtle begins to shift. The divine masculine, often still in his own inner battle or awakening process, may return not physically, but energetically. He may not reach out, speak, or ask for reunion in direct ways. Instead, his presence may flicker into the field like a whisper. A thought of him may arise unexpectedly, a dream, a synchronicity, a sensation that he is near. But this is not coincidence, it is a test. It is not a test of her mind, or even of her emotional response. It is a test of her frequency. Will she fall back into the old loop? Will she shift into energetic chasing? Will she project or reach for him before he is ready to meet her where she truly stands? Or will she hold the field? Will she remain sovereign, still, centered, aligned? This is a critical juncture on the twin flame path. If the divine feminine reacts from old patterns, clinging, desiring, romanticizing, over-analyzing, then the old polarity is reignited, the dance restarts, and the loop of runner and chaser continues. But if she stands in her inner knowing, her sacred light, her heart-centered neutrality, she signals something different. She transmits not the cry of longing, but the song of soul embodiment. This hidden wall does not block the masculine from love. It does not repel him in cruelty or coldness. It simply refuses to abandon alignment for attachment. It does not collapse in the face of longing. It holds. It protects the integrity of the frequency. It ensures that the feminine does not merge before the masculine is truly ready to meet her in union, not just in body, but in energy, spirit, and responsibility. This is how the divine feminine keeps the gate to sacred union, not by waiting, not by hoping, but by living her truth, by honoring the field she has purified through fire. This energetic boundary says, I have come home to myself and I will not abandon this home to follow a shadow. It is here that the true reunion becomes possible, not because the feminine collapses, but because she ascends into sovereignty. And in that stillness, she becomes the invitation not to the past, but to something new, a higher love, a balanced love, a love that cannot be forced, but can only be met. Number 2, balancing the one energetic system, from chaos to sacred coherence. This journey is not truly about two separate beings endlessly navigating conflict, confusion, or longing. At its deepest level, it is the sacred unfolding of one soul, split only in perception, learning how to balance its own energy within the density of the 3D matrix. And the divine feminine, often the first to awaken, is the one who initially bears the weight of this imbalance most intensely. In the early stages, the experience can feel like pure chaos. The divine feminine finds herself thrown into emotional storms she cannot explain, navigating spiritual awakenings she cannot control. Her nervous system may become dysregulated, swinging between hope and despair, between visions of union and waves of abandonment. She begins to search, to seek, to cling to signs, answers, and timelines, anything that might offer solid ground beneath her feet. But in doing so, she is still oriented outward. Her energy is still chasing, still reaching, still entangled in the illusion of duality. And yet, something begins to shift, perhaps slowly, perhaps painfully, but the shift comes. The divine feminine begins to anchor. She starts to turn inward, not in avoidance, but in deep reclamation. She begins to redirect the energy she once poured into longing, projecting, or chasing, and brings it home. Into her breath, into her body, into her truth. She stops begging the universe for signs and starts becoming the sign itself. This is the moment when the nervous system starts to recalibrate. The heart no longer flutters with anxiety, it steadies into knowing. The energy field no longer flickers in desperation, it holds in clarity. This is the sacred rebalancing of the one energetic system. It is not the victory of one over the other. It is not the feminine winning or the masculine losing. It is the collapse of polarity itself. It is the dissolving of me and you, of runner and chaser, of longing and resistance. It is the emergence of one field whole, coherent, luminous, a field rooted in divine presence, no longer distorted by fear, illusion, or separation. When this happens, the divine feminine is no longer a seeker. She becomes the field itself. She no longer asks, where are they? When will they come? What should I do? Because she already knows, they are me. I am the frequency. I am the mirror. I am the home. And this field cannot be shaken, not by silence, not by delay, not even by rejection. Because it is no longer built on external confirmation, it is built on internal alignment. It is no longer a plea, it is a presence. No longer a searchlight, it is the Sunday. In this sacred coherence, the divine masculine is no longer pressured to return out of urgency. Instead, he feels drawn, magnetized by the stillness, the radiance, the home he once feared, now held in complete neutrality. This is the real power of the divine feminine, not in trying to fix the connection, but in learning to hold the field so completely, so unapologetically, that the one energetic system can finally balance itself in truth. If you've made it this far, it means something in your soul is resonating, something deeper than words, something sacred. Take a moment to breathe that in. Reflect on where you are in your own journey. Are you still seeking outside of yourself, or are you beginning to come home to your own field? Your story matters, and your presence here is part of the greater collective awakening. I invite you to share your experience in the comments, whether it's a turning point, a moment of clarity, or simply where you're at today. Or if you're not ready to share just yet, type the affirmation, I am the field, and I hold the frequency of union. Let this be your declaration. Let it anchor you, and let it be a beacon for others walking the same path. Number 3, purpose over pursuit. the sacred shift into sovereignty. There comes a point on the twin flame journey when everything changes not through force, effort, or grasping, but through quiet alignment. This is the moment the divine feminine stops chasing, not because she has given up, not because she has numbed herself or become indifferent, but because something deeper has awakened within her. She has tasted the frequency of true union, and she knows now that it cannot be earned, demanded, or pursued. It can only be matched. Once this sacred inner equilibrium is established, the divine feminine no longer identifies with the desperate longing that once defined her path. Her energy has shifted from seeking to embodying. She no longer clings to timelines or questions the divine masculine's return. She no longer lowers her light to make herself more palatable or waits in silence hoping to be chosen. That old version of herself, the one who begged for crumbs of attention, is no longer present. She has dissolved. In her place stands a soul who has remembered who she is. Whether the divine feminine walks this earth in a female or male form, her frequency now radiates something entirely different, an inner stillness that speaks louder than words. Her focus has turned inward, toward her mission, her creative essence, her sacred purpose. Her life becomes an altar, not of waiting, but of living. She begins pouring her energy into what lights her up: service, healing, creation, leadership, community, and embodiment. She understands that the highest form of magnetism is not performance, but authenticity. She is no longer distorted by the ache of absence. That ache has alchemized into clarity. That longing has evolved into purpose. And because of this, she becomes a living conduit for divine codes of light, sovereignty, and balance. These aren't just poetic metaphors. This is energetic truth. She becomes a frequency holder for union itself. She is no longer seeking union outside of herself. She is the field of union. And then it happens. The divine masculine feels her shift. He may not be conscious of it. He may not send a message or show up at the door, but his soul senses the recalibration, and so he returns often subtly, spiritually, and energetically to test the frequency. This is not a test of words, promises, or plans. It is a test of vibration, and in this moment, he is not met with a wounded heart longing for validation. He is not met with a version of her clinging to the past or craving closure. Instead, he meets light. He meets a sovereign being who holds her center, who remembers her worth, who radiates without trying. She does not move. She does not chase. She does not explain. She simply holds the grid, her energy field aligned, stable, grounded in truth. She no longer needs approval. She no longer needs love to be returned in a specific form. She no longer seeks validation through his recognition. She knows who she is. She knows why she came. And that alone is the most magnetic force in the universe. This is the sacred reversal. This is purpose over pursuit. And it is in this state of inner alignment, not emotional effort, that union becomes inevitable. Imagine a woman named Alina. For years, she poured her energy into the connection, checking his social media, analyzing every dream, rereading old messages, wondering if today would be the day he returned. Her life revolved around his absence. But one day, something shifted. Instead of waiting, she began to write again the novel she abandoned years ago. She enrolled in a healing certification program. She stopped looking for signs and started living as the sign. Her mornings became sacred rituals. Her nights were filled with creation, not craving. One afternoon, while painting in silence, she felt his energy suddenly enter her field, unspoken, yet unmistakable. But this time, she didn't reach for her phone. She didn't wonder, what does it mean? Instead, she smiled softly. She stayed centered. She kept painting. Because now, she wasn't waiting to be chosen, she had chosen herself. And in that moment, the test was complete. Her field held. She became the mirror of union, not the seeker of it. Number 4, a sacred invitation. Begin the detox. Begin the shift. Are you still feeling stuck in the same exhausting loops, caught in the endless dance of runner and chaser, emotionally worn from the chaos of separation, wondering why reunion never seems to arrive? You've done the inner work, or so you thought. You've read the books, watched the videos, journaled through your pain. And yet, the cycle keeps spinning. If this feels like your story, this is not a punishment, it is your invitation, a sacred opportunity to step beyond confusion and into clarity, to move from energetic exhaustion into true empowerment. Beginning on October 1st, we launch a 30-day energetic detox, but this is not about food, weight loss, or even physical health. This is not a quick fix. This is not a trend. This is a deep and soul-led invitation to cleanse the unseen. For 30 days, you'll be gently and powerfully guided through the inner clearing of fear-based patterns that are still subconsciously running your field. You'll learn how to rewire the nervous system, calm the fight or flight response, and return to your natural state, divine stillness. Because it's not enough to surrender on the surface. The energetic ties, the unspoken attachments, the emotional reflexes, the subconscious cravings for reunion must also be dissolved. This detox will teach you how to do just that. It's about stepping out of spiritual performance and into energetic truth. As part of this journey, you'll receive full access to our complete Twin Flame course, a comprehensive A to Z roadmap of the Twin Flame path. But unlike the romanticized versions you may have encountered before, this course tells the truth. It reveals the raw, sacred, sometimes uncomfortable reality of what it means to embody union frequency. No fluff, no illusions, just soul-deep remembrance. You'll learn how to restore your energetic signature, how to stop vibrating from need and start vibrating from purpose. You'll re-anchor into your sovereignty, not as a concept, but as a living frequency. Most importantly, you'll awaken the deeper mission that brought you to Earth. Because your journey is not just about reuniting with another, it is about reuniting with yourself, your essence, your divine origin. We go far beyond the question, when will they come back? That's not the real question anymore. The real question is, have you come back to you? This 30-day experience is not about chasing a union. It's about becoming the field where union happens naturally. From sacred embodiment to soul-led business creation, from emotional liberation to divine abundance, this detox is a portal into the life you were meant to live. So, if you've felt the call, the inner nudge, the quiet whisper that says there's something more, this is it. You don't need to figure it out alone. You simply need to say yes. Because once you detox the illusion, your whole frequency changes. And when your frequency changes, everything else does too. The Twin Flame journey is not a punishment. It is a profound initiation. It's not something being done to you, but something awakening within you. Every trigger, every silence, every unanswered message and lingering memory, they are not signs of abandonment. They are sacred invitations. Invitations to rise, to remember, to return not to another, but to yourself. And here's the truth many overlook. When you stop chasing the connection and start embodying your own sacred essence, the energy begins to respond. That's when the real reunion begins, not the fantasy, not the illusion, but the soul-level magnetic return that flows effortlessly toward you because you have become the field itself. So, if you've been asking, why is this happening to me? I challenge you to flip the script. Instead, whisper this into your heart and type it boldly in the comments below. This is awakening me. Let it echo through your nervous system. Let it vibrate through your field. Let the universe know you're ready. This isn't just another video. This is your turning point. We are not here to beg for union. We are here to radiate the frequency that calls it home. So take a deep breath right now and say it aloud with me. I reclaim my power. I hold the field. I am the divine frequency. If that resonated with your soul, don't just leave silently, leave your imprint. Drop the words, "This is awakening me," in the comments so I know you're walking this path with me. Like this video if your heart feels lighter. Share it with someone still looping in the chase. And don't forget to watch the next video on the screen. It might be the key to your next breakthrough. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are being initiated. You are ready. You are home. And the sacred journey has only just begun.